Despite being thousands of kilometers apart, Turkey and Pakistan share a close relationship. The bond between the two nations can be traced far back, even before the Turkish Republic was formed, and has only strengthened since the founding of the Pakistani state. Both also share multiple strategic interests, from combating Islamophobia to ensuring peace and stability in their respective regions. I sat down with Pakistan's Foreign Minister, Shah Mahmood Qureshi, to discuss everything from efforts to make peace with the Taliban to the situation in Kashmir. Mr. Minister, thank you for joining us on Straight Talk. It's good to have you here. The 8th Ministerial Conference of Heart of Asia Istanbul process has convened under the theme of peace, partnership and prosperity. The whole initiative actually aims at enhancing cooperation for Afghanistan. Tell us about what has been achieved so far so as to restore peace and stability in Afghanistan, and Pakistan's role in this respect.
Well, Pakistan's role has been very pronounced and very clear. Pakistan feels that a stable, peaceful Afghanistan is in our interest, and Pakistan has done everything possible to facilitate the peace process. To begin with, we have dealt with terrorists and terrorist organizations very firmly on our side of the border, and today we can claim with confidence that we have cleared our side of the border from all sanctuaries.
Is it all secure now?
Absolutely. Yeah, anybody is welcome to come and see for themselves what we have achieved. People have returned back to the areas that they had vacated. Life has become normal. Schools are functioning. Sporting activities are taking place. The bazaars, the shopping, areas are full of hustle and bustle. So things have improved considerably.
But on the Pakistani side, I think
on our side. On our side.
How about the Afghan side?
Well, I'm coming to that. We've also, one of the allegations was that people crossed over from our side to create problems for them. And our contention was that we are checking, people on our side. Look at the posts that we have. Now we're also fencing the border along Afghanistan. That costs a lot of money, but we're doing it to check border movement. But they have a responsibility on their side. If there are sanctuaries on their side, we can't go and help them there. They have the most sophisticated weaponry available. They have world powers stationed in Afghanistan to help them, give them the intelligence, information in time to eradicate terrorist activity on their side.
So do you think Afghanistan is not doing enough?
Well, they have. I wouldn't say they haven't tried. They have, but they still have serious challenges because let's not forget that even today, there are huge areas in Afghanistan that are not under the control of the Afghan government, and they are being controlled by the Taliban. That's a given fact. Well, I hope the talks reach their logical conclusion. That is an agreement between the Taliban and the US, because this agreement would be the first step towards an intra-Afghan dialogue, which will follow, hopefully. And that dialogue will result in the reconciliation that is essential for a sustainable peace in Afghanistan.
Are you hopeful this time?
I'm hopeful. I'm sitting with my fingers crossed, but I think if there was a chance of peace, it is now, and it should be seized. I'm of the view that Taliban should be pragmatic, and they should show flexibility. And one way of showing flexibility is by undertaking steps for a reduction in violence. At the same time, I think the Americans must also show flexibility and meet their demands midway so that there is movement in the right direction.
Does Pakistan have some kind of an influence over Taliban into bringing the organization onto negotiations table?
Well, they're very independent-minded people. They're controlled by no one. Pakistan is trying to be a friend and we're trying to persuade them to do what we think is in Afghanistan's interest. We've been friends with the Afghans for decades. We've been hosting them. Even today, there are close to 3 million Afghans living in Pakistan. Refugees. We've given them all facilities, education, health, sort of opportunities for employment and economic activity. We've done everything possible for them, scholarships. So Pakistan has been, will be constructive in its approach and positive. I hope the Afghans realize that and build a kind of partnership that is required for mutual benefit.
But you think it is the right time to achieve peace with
Yes.
Taliban?
I think so.
What if it's missed?
God forbid if it's missed, then I see turmoil.
Okay.
Then I see things getting out of control, and the whole region will get affected. And that's why yesterday, in the Heart of Asia Istanbul Process Conference, we all were of the view that a regional approach is required. Every neighbor of Afghanistan has to contribute. Pakistan alone cannot do it.
do that.
We are doing our bit, but others have to come in.
So let's talk about Turkey. I mean, how do you describe Turkey's position as a peacekeeper in Afghanistan and at the same time a staunch ally of Pakistan?
Well, we have confidence in Turkey. Turkish presence in Afghanistan does not threaten us, frankly speaking. If there is a Turkish footprint in Afghanistan, we are comfortable with it because we know Turkey has no ill designs. They want a peace and stability, and they want to contribute positively. As opposed to India, if the Indian footprint grew in Afghanistan, that will make us uncomfortable. It will make us uncomfortable because of the situation in Jammu and Kashmir.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it.
Because of the issue on the eastern border, right? So we're comfortable with Turkey, and Turkey can play its role, and Turkey has a certain amount of influence in Afghanistan, which should be recognized, and they have been positive. They're part of NATO, so why can't they play their role?
Tell us about the enhancing military and defense cooperation between Turkey and Pakistan. What's the latest on that?
It's growing. It's mutually beneficial. And when President Erdogan visits Pakistan in February 2020, hopefully things will move further on defense cooperation and economic cooperation.
Pakistan just recently participated in a Turkish military exercise in Eastern Mediterranean. Now, Turkey and Libya signed this maritime boundaries agreement, which actually drew a lot of criticism from the regional neighbors. From a Pakistan's point of view, what do you make of Turkish claims in Eastern Mediterranean? Because I also know that Pakistan will also join the Mediterranean Shield military exercise this month as well.
Well, as I said, since our relations with Turkey are such that there's trust and there's history to it and there's confidence. So whatever Turkey proposes, Pakistan will look at that with a very open mind.
Okay, now you've just recently mentioned the Kashmir issue. Tell us about the latest. It's been over 4 months, if I'm not mistaken. People are under siege. Tell us about the latest situation there.
It's bad. It's getting from bad to worse. The curfew continues day and night. Children deprived of schooling. Patients deprived of medical facilities and treatment. Internet service still suspended. Journalists like you are not allowed in. Try. See if you can go into Indian occupied Kashmir. They will not let you in. But if you want to come to the Pakistan side of Kashmir, we'll welcome you. We'll facilitate. Not just you, any independent international journalist or international observer is welcome to come and visit meet people, see for themselves, and form an opinion. Will the Indians do that? I doubt it. I doubt it. That shows what they are claiming is far from reality on the ground. The reality is that 8 million people are under siege. The reality is that human rights are being abused.
Can they go out on streets, shop?
No,
Go to
curfew,
schools?
curfew. They lift curfew, so sort of for intervals for people to go and buy essential, food items. But they are under curfew. Curfew means if you step out of the house, you'll be shot. They'll shoot to kill. So that's curfew. And people even can't go to mosques on Friday to pray.
India seems it's not backing down. So, what is your expectations from the international community? Have they reacted enough?
Not to the extent that the situation demands. The situation is horrific. Two nuclear powers face to face. Indian actions are threatening peace and security of the region.
What are you going to do about it?
Well, we have highlighted the Indian actions at every possible forum. The Prime Minister raised this issue when he was addressing the United Nations General Assembly. We called for and succeeded in getting a closed-door session of the Security Council. There are pending Security Council resolutions. It's on the agenda of the UN, the Kashmir issue, often forgotten, but still pending on the issue. I think those powers have to wake up to the new reality. And the new reality is that if India continues on this path, there will be peace and security under threat.
As far as I can see, Turkey, of course, Pakistan, and Malaysia have commonly reacted to this. And the leaders of these three countries met at the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly. And they discussed the current problems faced by Muslims and also Islamophobia. And they agreed on setting up of a common TV channel to combat Islamophobia and the problems of the Muslims around the world. Is it a good soft power projection by three countries?
I think it's a step forward. We feel that our point of view was not getting sufficient space in the Western media. And through this new English channel, we will be able to communicate better with the West and with the Muslim world. So we are grateful to Turkey and Malaysia for taking a very strong and a very clear position on Jammu and Kashmir. I think that the OIC has also now moved considerably, and the latest resolution passed by the Independent Human Rights Commission of the OIC is very, very clear, and it has censured India. I think now the debate in the US Congress that is taking place and the resolutions that have been put forward is encouraging. I think the deliberations and the debate that took place in the European Union again is encouraging. The fact that 54 members of parliament from the House of Commons have written to the Secretary General of the UN, highlighting the atrocities taking place in Jammu and Kashmir is a positive development. The fact that international human rights organizations like Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch are speaking up and demanding the world to act. The UN Human Rights Commissioner coming out with this report.
Are you hoping to bring peace to the region, or are you hoping to combat this Islamophobia, and when it's going to be materialized?
Well, they've had about I'm told 3 technical level meetings, and hopefully in the near future, I believe there could be a new agreement signed between the three to make this possible. Discussions have taken place. It is in the pipeline, and hopefully it will materialize soon, and we'll all benefit. The idea is to promote peace. The idea is to promote the true face of Islam. The distorted image of Islam needs to be fought against.
All right. Mr. Minister, thank you for joining us on Strait Talk.
Thank you.